Control Tower, this is Flying Blind Podcast requesting permission for takeoff.
Copy. Can you confirm your flight path and destination?
Negative. I can't see shit, but we'll be right. We're just gonna wing it.
Righto, welcome back to the Flying Blind Podcast, a podcast for all of us out there just winging it. I am pumped about today's episode. We're sitting down. We have come off a ripper night last night in Melbourne at Lainey Wilson, and I've got my great mate sitting beside me here in the studio, and I'd love to welcome you, mate, Shooter, a.k.a. Liam Williamson, a.k.a. Shooter. Mate, how are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good. This has been a long time coming.
It has been a long time coming, mate. We've been back and forwards. We're good at phone pong at the moment, I think, but we sort of try to make it happen, and it all come together around Lainey Wilson, mate, and it's a pleasure to sit here with you.
Mate, bloody oath it is. We've come off a great night last night, and safe to say we're both wildly in love.
I'm wildly in love. I got to spend some time with Lainey in person, also watch her on stage, and
I didn't watch her on stage.
She is yeah, I did for you. She is an incredible human.
We stood beside each other though, and you were describing it to me, and yeah, safe to say we were both in awe of the performance.
Yes, incredible human, so kind, and as I sort of said to you before, mate, Dolly Parton-like of how kind she is, but when she gets on that stage, she's a true performer. So
bloody
it was great to watch.
And it was a great night.
It was a great night. It was good to get back on the piss for me and have a few beers. And you said this morning, do I regret having a beer after 50 days? I said, definitely not, because I was in good company and doing it for a good reason with Lainey. So it was good, it was good fun.
If you need an excuse, Lainey was it.
Yeah,
but you've gone 50 days sober.
I have, mate. I've gone 50 days sober until last night.
And that's a great little segment or great little segue into the way we start all of our guest episodes on Flying Blind, and that is with a little activity where you're going to have to guess by closing your eyes. And now everyone's going to be watching on the camera, so you need to close your eyes. All right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll give you a blindfold.
Oh,
but
no.
Close your eyes, and then I've got 4 cans here.
Yeah.
2 of them are water, 2 of them are beer.
All right.
And then you're going to have to pick. We're going to go through all 4, and you're going to have to tell me beer or water. We're going to see how many you get right.
I don't know.
You ready?
I'm ready. Eyes are closed.
Hang on. All right. First can. I'm just going to move the mic so you can hear this. You listening?
Yeah. Nah, that's water.
Water?
Yeah.
All right. Can number 2.
Beer.
Can number 3.
Oh. Nah, beer.
Beer. Righto. All right, here we go. Listening?
Yep. That'd have to be water.
How many do you reckon you got right?
I'm an hour about the third one there now.
Yeah.
Nah, the last one was water. Nah, I reckon it was water.
Mate, you're 4 from 4.
4 from 4.
How good. What a start. Now, do you want to be?
Do I keep my eyes closed for the rest of the episode now, or?
Yeah, welcome to my life. Mate, 4 from 4.
There we go.
I think first person to do 4 from 4.
4
so you've
from
done
4.
well.
I
Very well.
did and ah that third one there, but I just heard that little bit of a at the end.
Yeah, and you're like, oh,
fizz.
that's
I'm like,
that's
that's
a
a
beer.
beer.
Yeah.
I've missed that sound.
Now, you can have one or you don't have to have one because it is early in the morning. That's completely up to
After
you.
how many I drank last night, mate, and the vodka Red Bulls at 2 a.m. this morning, I think I'll miss it for now.
Yeah. We'll leave them there, and if we need them later, we can come and get them. But,
Yeah.
mate, it's great to sit down with you, and we'll go through sort of the story, but we want to start at the start because a lot of people know you as Shooter from the Dusty Boots podcast, but I want to get to know you as Shooter. And
100%.
the actual bloke.
Yeah.
Right? The bloke that isn't necessarily the one running around doing interviews with artists and here, there and everywhere and on stage and off stage and behind the mic. But I want to get to know you as you and what life was like growing up and how you've ended up doing what you're doing now. So let's rewind a little bit and start at the start before takeoff. Talk about growing up. Run us through it.
I had a pretty simple life growing up, I think, mate. Country boy from down at Ballarat, sort of growing up in my early ages, probably around a bit of a farming district as well, with my auntie and uncle owning a farm out at Wearmouth, just out from Ballarat. So a lot of time spent around there, and then sort of grew up, got the one brother, and pretty simple life, mate, as a young kid. A lot of fun growing up, a lot of time spent down the beach with my parents over Christmas holidays and stuff down at Port Arlington. And then when we were at home, enjoyed school. And I don't know. I suppose my younger life, I could never look back and say, I had a hard, very young life. I could always look back, and I feel like people should look back and say that when they were a kid, they had the time of their life. So sort of growing up, I went to Lumen Christie, which is a little primary school, and from there moved on to St. Pat's, which is a private all-boys school.
Oh, yeah.
Probably didn't really suit me too much growing up there.
Few too many rules?
A few too many rules. I probably bent a few over the years. With all the boys I grew up with, were sort of all country lads. So from all the districts around the Ballarat were sort of the blokes I hung out with. And from there, mate, we sort of went through to about year 10, I think I made it through to. Probably my whole life sort of growing up. Dad was always in the building industry. He wasn't a builder himself, but what he did was always in the building industry. He's been in it for, 40 years now. And I was always sort of out on site with him as a kid. Always probably knew I was going to be a builder. People always joked about call him Bob the Builder. So,
and you loved it from that young age.
I think Mum and Dad always knew when I was 5 years old I was going to be a builder one day. So, from there, mate, I sort of spent a lot of time on site with my old man when he was supervising, and we always joke about, he used to take me out to site and he used to go around and unscrew all the hurdles while the concreters were going, and I might have only been 10 years old, and we'd go to the next site and next site and next site, and I don't know. I find a funny story where I used to always go with Dad that much. One bloke had come in and cleaned the sites up for a site cut with a bobcat, and he'd come in and it was spotless, flat, beautiful, really nice. And another bloke come in and it was real messy. And I remember saying to Dad one day, well, what's the difference between them two? One looks shit and one looks really good. He said, the same thing. He said, you got a good eye though. He said, you know who the good one is.
Yeah.
From there, mate, spent a lot of time around the building industry as a young kid. Yep. Played a bit of local footy. I grew up sort of playing at Sebas Footy Club as a young fella. So I played, I reckon I would have nearly played over 100. I reckon I'd be probably towards 150, I reckon, mate, as a junior at Sebas. Yep. So I sort of spent my whole life there. And I suppose my parents are very community involved, and sort of the way my life is now is based around that. I've been taught probably the right way off both my mum and dad as hard workers and real community people that when people need help, you help them. So sort of grew up around Sebas. As a young fella, played a lot of footy and that. Can't say I was a good footy player, mate. I just really enjoyed the community of being around a footy club, I guess. It's just one of them things that I feel like if people don't grow up around sport, you don't know that mateship and what it's like to be a part of a team to try and win. As a junior, I don't think we had the best run. We lost a lot of games by, 100 plus points. I spent time as a captain in the 16s and that we struggled big time. We used to get flogged week after week after week, but we still showed up because we were there with our mates having fun. So did that, and then I think I did make one grand final. I reckon it would have been under 12s, I reckon. I reckon we lost by about 11 points.
Oh.
Remember crying my eyes out as a little kid. I was that devastated. But never really played any other footy grand finals apart from that, mate. From Sebas, I sort of moved out to Learmonth, which is just outside of Ballarat, and I spent a lot of time playing footy out there in 18s. I remember when I was real young, I used to play 18s. Yep. I'd play 2s, and I'd do the running for the seniors all in the one day. And that was just probably off the back of learning off my parents, being the community man that put your hand up and sort of help out, I guess. So a lot of time out at Learmonth out there, and just a real community of country sort of lifestyle out there. And from there, mate, with my footy career, sort of moved out to Lexington for a few years after that. But, as I said, mate, my life growing up was pretty simple. Had a lot of fun, was around a good community, I guess with mum and dad and that, like they just brought me up the right way. And that's something I look up to now with kids that I've got that that's how we sort of met. So moved through life with that, mate. And then, I sort of moved into being a builder probably about 16 years old, sort of, I guess.
So left school early?
Left school early. Yep. Definitely wasn't my thing. I actually do remember leaving school, mate, and I went to Mrs. Ryan, her name was. I'm sure she won't listen to this because she hated me. And
she might be a fan of Flying Blind.
Yeah, she might be. That's true.
Maybe not this episode.
But I do remember, mate, she come to me and said, if you can get the teachers to sign this, you can finish at the end of year 10. And,
so she was encouraging you to get out. She was like, hey, there's the door. Let's make it happen. Was.
And look, mate, school for me growing up, I'm not the smartest bloke ever. Some people probably look at me and think I am smart, but I always say I'm not. My speech has never been something that's so good about me. The way I talk about things or my maths was never strong and that, and I did probably struggle at school a little bit with that sort of stuff. I was always in sort of the lower grade classes or had the helping hand in school. It's not nothing against mum and dad. It was just the way I went about life. I probably wasn't the smartest kid when I was younger, and I probably didn't care as much either, mate. I just didn't want to be at school. I always knew I wanted to be a builder. So,
But that's just life. Like
Yeah.
for some kids growing up, school comes so naturally.
Yeah.
And then there's others that school just is not for them. And it's such a traditional sort of fucking way of teaching
it is.
and building people's education that I've got mates, similar thing, that left in year 9, got kicked out before year 10 or kicked out halfway through year 10, and now they're some of the most successful people because school just wasn't for them.
100%, mate. And I feel like for me, like, not polar opposites to my brother, we're very much alike. But for him, he went right through the whole school of studying hard, and that when I come home, the last thing I wanted to fucking do was read a book or do anything. It was I didn't worry about. I used to not study, do nothing. Like I just didn't want to be there as such, and it wasn't for me. And growing up, I always wanted to be a builder. So sort of got to that year 10, and this lady said, if you can get this page signed by all the teachers to say you want to leave, you're happy to leave at the end of year 10. And
were your parents supportive of that
yeah,
as well?
definitely, mate.
Yep.
Definitely. They sort of said, like, look, if you want to leave, you can leave. And before I sort of left school, the old 14 and 9 months, I actually applied for a job at the Woolworths, close to mum and dad's. And I still remember being down at Sebastian's as a young fella when I went to mum and dad. So I just got a job. And they're like, well, when did you apply for one? I said, the other day.
The first day I could, as soon as I was 14 and 9 months, bang.
And that comes off mum and dad. My mum and dad are very hard working people. They're starting to head towards retirement age, mate. And I keep saying to mum and dad that they need to enjoy it because they've worked so hard their whole life, mum and dad. Like, they've earned everything they do. And I've sort of taken that in my stride of what they do and how hard they work, and I guess that's got me a long way in life. So when I was 14 and 9 months, I went to Woolworths and got a job, and I was just stacking shelves, mate. And then, I was working sort of like a Monday, Wednesday night, your 4 or 5 hours. And then a Saturday popped up, and I started doing Saturday mornings at a stage there. And I think I had a year of footy there, I reckon, where I decided to do all day Saturdays. So I started doing all day on a Saturday, but all day on a Saturday meant I moved into a bit of a manager's role at about 15 years old. With a few other blokes and some of my best mates I still talk to now from the Woolies days. And, sort of moved into a backdoor manager role of unloading trucks as a 15, 16-year-old. And
good's that?
Sort of the hard work ethic started from there, I guess. And I absolutely loved every minute of working there, mate. It was not just a supermarket and stacking shelves. It was the people I was around and actually enjoy anything I put my mind to. I sort of feel like I can enjoy. So did that for a bit, and then, got the signature signed by all the teachers at school, where I went around and told them, can they sign this? I need to have a day off. I didn't tell them that I was actually leaving school, so I bluffed my way around every single teacher with a different story and got them to sign the signatures on the piece of paper.
You're sort of reading the room going, you're not going to want me to leave, so I've got to pitch this to you differently.
So
just
I
to get your
pitched every
signature.
teacher a different pitch, mate. I couldn't tell you what they all were, but I pitched them something different and got them all to sign it. And the only thing I probably liked about school, mate, was vet building. Was something I did that was just you weren't allowed to do it. I think you had to do 11 and 12. You weren't meant to do it in year 10. And I pushed and pushed and pushed to do it in year 10 because I wanted to be a builder and I didn't want to be at school. And to keep me at school, they put me into vet as year 10.
Yeah.
Did it, mate, and I don't know. I think I sort of blew the teachers away when they get a laser level out and I'm setting the thing up and they're going, how do you know how to set a laser level up? And I'm like, oh, you just set it up. Up's to go down, down's to go up.
Yeah.
I know how it works. And they were going, okay, we should be teaching you that, not you teaching us. And I feel like I felt like a teacher half the time because all the stuff my old man had taught me growing up, I was showing all the other kids what to do. So had a lot of fun doing that,
But it's because
mate.
that's your passion. That was
was my passion from when I was
the
born.
passion area. You've been around it, like you say, going to different job sites.
Yeah.
It's not that you were the know-it-all. It was just something that you were.
And I was lucky enough too, mate, in year 10, I actually took out, I can't remember what the award was called. It was like a Q award or something. And I was the first ever year 10 in St. Pat's history to take out the best chippy out of the class or whatever for the thing. And never really thought about it. And
St. Pat's would have been happy with that.
I was seeing a thing the other day and I thought, geez, that was probably something that I looked over and moved on really quickly from. But that's probably a fair achievement for me to
back
look
then.
back then when you think about St. Pat's history. And I took an award out like that. And I'm not someone to talk about my accolades and everything I've done in life, but I sort of look back on that now and think, geez, that was pretty special that I actually took that away before I left school. So did that, mate, and then got through that, and then we sort of moved into a chippy role. I went and did some work experience with a fella, and then he said, can you do next week? And I said, yep. And he said, do you want to come back next week? Yep. And then it was one after the other. And I said, I've got to go back to school and get signed off. But as soon as I get signed off for school, I'll come and start. And I reckon it was Melbourne Cup weekend. It should be 10 years this year. So Melbourne Cup weekend. I remember doing this house on Lydiard Street, and it was wrecked house. It was his old girl's house, and went in, and the bloke that was working there, Jace, I worked with him for many years, and he took me on board under his wing, and we had a lot of fun. He was actually playing footy up at Edenhope, and I got him back down to Learmonth and become great mates with him, still am now. And he knew my passion for being a builder. I just didn't want to be there as just someone that was there for a job and leave when it was 3 p.m. I wanted to be there and actually invest in it. And he invested his time in me. Jace and Scotty, my boss at the time, invested a lot of time in me as well, mate. And I spent a lot of years there working alongside them. Jace sort of finished up, and I was sort of running things for Scotty and, mate, doing all sorts of things from, helping organise plumbing, electrical, building. We were hanging plaster, we were doing renos, and had a lot of fun growing up, and it become more of just such a passion and respect for the building game. Growing up, I guess, it was one of them things where I wasn't just going and doing what I'm doing now, but I wasn't sort of just going and building a frame on it and moving on to the next one. A lot of the stuff I did growing up with Scotty was a lot of high-end builds, some
end-to-end sort of stuff.
Some stuff was $1 million houses, and I was digging the footings, pouring the footings, putting the stumps in all the way right to the end to the $1 million finish of, washing the stone bench top before the client moves in, and washing the windows and vacuuming the house, right down to that. So,
but from a learning point of view, that's unreal, because you're not just, like you say, going apprenticeship, 4 years of doing the same thing over and over and over again, or like you hear a lot of people do from an apprenticeship point of view, where they'll do the same thing for 95% of the time, and then just to tick off your apprenticeship, oh yeah, we'll come and do a day with this bloke putting up cladding, or do a day with this bloke putting skirts and arcs on, or putting on door jams or whatever, just so you can tick off that you've done it. But it sounds like you would have done such a variation the whole way through.
The whole way through, mate. And I remember we worked down in Anglesea. We did a ripper house up behind Anglesea IGA, and we ripped this thing from a house. We ripped all the cladding off the outside, and it was pretty much all that was left was a bare frame. But when we left, it was $1 million house. It had, beautiful cladding, beautiful big windows, big decks. It was 3 or 4 bedroom house. It had just a beautiful view over Anglesea and that. But I was there from the very start to the finish growing up, and I was so proud to be a part of so many different projects. And look, a lot of the projects we did when I was growing up, I'm still mates with them people now, which is sort of something special to me. They're not just a client where I went and built for them and here's your house, see you later. I still become great mates with them. I had so much respect for the building game and for what I was producing for clients, I always hear the saying, happy wife, and I always change it and say happy client, happy wife, because if you can make a client happy, mate, they're very appreciative of living in that house for the rest of their life.
100%. And then it's just this flow-on effect. If you got happy clients, then they tell other people, recommendations, flow-on effect, and it's just something that you can't underestimate the power of. I think both of us sung too much last night.
We did.
Both coughing and got the raspy throats.
We do, mate. And then, so from there, I sort of was in the building game. I used to bust my ass as a young fella, mate, to get brought up, as I said, the right way by my parents, where if you want something, you work for it. You don't get it gifted to you. And, I worked my whole life at sort of Woolies, the start of my life, and then become a builder, and everything I've done, I've earned my way of doing it. I've just done the hard yards to get what I want. So, mate, I used to work, an 8-hour day, and I'd knock off and go home and go build a pair of stairs for someone all night until it was dark. And my younger life, mate, living at home with mum and dad before I met Charles was I'd just work. I'd work my ass off, and I'd work my ass off for anything I wanted. So, I guess that's a big appreciation to mum and dad for that. Without them bringing me up that way and being the community people they are and how hard they've worked. And, dad's probably the face of how hard they work. And I don't know, I always look at mum, what she does in the supermarket. She drives right across Victoria doing stuff, and she's an incredible woman herself, mate. And I've got a lot of respect for both mum and dad.
Yep.
So it's been rubbed onto me the right way. So when I was younger, I'd go to work and I'd work all day and I'd work all night and earn that money. I remember buying my first ute, mate, 20 grand, and I was 18 and went and brought it. And I would love to know how many people looked at me and said, fuck, mum and dad brought that for him, because they didn't. I worked so hard for that ute. I went down to Bannockburn and got it, and was, I looked at that and gone, I worked for this myself and I paid for it myself.
No one sees the stairs at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night.
I remember doing this job, me and Jason. It was, we were like the block one night. We worked all day and we were putting weatherboards on I reckon it was the back of his sister's joint. back of this shed at the back. And we had floodlights set up everywhere, and we worked until we got this thing cladded this night, and then got up the next day and went to work the next day. And that's what I've done my whole life, mate. I've always showed up. Doesn't matter whether you're hungover. I know my old man always says the amount of times I've been to work with a hangover. It's easier to go to work with a hangover and work it off than sit at home and do nothing. So, sort of worked hard through all that through my life, and then I sort of started a clothing brand in the midst of sort of meeting Chels. I sort of met Chels through a mutual friend, and then I actually went around and fixed a door for her. That was the sweetener, I think. Went around and her back fly wire door was broken, and I put a new strut on it, and she made me pasta, and I sort of.
This is like something out of a movie. Make some pasta for the tradie while the tradie's doing the work and strutting his stuff and fixing the strut.
Probably looked like Riley Green at about that stage too, mate. So
yeah.
So we fell in love there, mate, and we sort of lived over at Windermere Street. I moved in with her. I don't think I officially told Mum and Dad I was leaving. I just never kept going home, and Mum kept asking where I was. And then I started being there more and more often, and then I reckon it was Denny Utemaster or something. We officially started dating at Denny Utemaster, but it
had been unofficial for a while.
And I remember before Denny, we might have had a concert on the night before Denny or something. I rocked up with 5 good shirts on a coat hanger, and I said, "Where's anywhere to hang this?" And she looked at me and said, "I don't have anywhere to hang your clothes." I said, "Well, you better make room." So I hung them in her closet, and from there, it was unofficial moving in with Chelsea. I disappeared from home and moved in with her, mate, and we started our life there. And
rest is history.
In the midst of that, mate, before as I was meeting Chelsea when I was younger age and that, I spent a lot of time around sort of the horse scene and rodeo scene. I spent a lot of time out at a horse events place out at Warburg, and ran a lot of team penning stuff. So I did a lot of judging, drafting the cattle through, and with team penning, a lot of people that may be listening that know what it's like. You got to mark a lot of these days there's a collar on the with them, but we used to mark them on the back with different colours. They used to have to come in, pen them up, and we had some great nights on the piss out there, mate. A lot of fun, but we did a lot of hard work out there as well. And this is all in the midst of being a chippy in between. I'd be a chippy and go out there on a Friday night, and we'd draft all the cattle off and mark them all up in all their 5-6 different colours. And
is that what got you into the country clothing brand sort of thing, that rodeo scene?
It did, mate. So I sort of did that BFM horse events, and then we moved into the Kingston Rodeo, which a lot of people would know me from. I still get people come up to me now and know that I was a part of Kingston Rodeo, and a bloke was running it, and he approached me to help him out, and jumped on board with them and did that for about 4 years, I think. And running a rodeo was something I just moved into that I never thought I ever would move into, and I think that's probably where my business sense started from there, I guess, and had a lot of fun. Could have Dad and my uncle and that along in the VIP area, and I'd work my ass off. We'd be in there the Friday night setting up. You wouldn't sleep, maybe you get 2 hours sleep on the Friday night for the rodeo. You wouldn't sleep the Saturday night because all the fuckwits in the campground would be up all night. I remember far out, mate. I'd have some stories from back then, and we went through a stage there where the Friday night, you'd be just running around, setting up, trying to have a beer. Everything could be right. Yep, all good. Test the lights, all that. The Saturday night, everyone's back out in the campground. They got fires going. They're not meant to. They're throwing tyres on. So we'd pull the fire truck out there and we'd put it off. People were throwing bottles at us because we were putting their fire out. And it was a wild sort of experience, mate. And I took a lot away from it. That's sort of the event management side of things. I fell in love with it after that for about 4 years. And then in the midst of that, mate, I loved to travel in Australia, so I sort of hit the road at 18 years old. I think it was 19 years old. Said to Mum and Dad, I'm going to travel Australia, and they said, "Oh yeah, no worries."
So this is halfway through your apprenticeship.
Right at the what would have been? No, I would have been in my apprenticeship. Yeah, I would have been probably year 3, I reckon. Yeah, I would have been year 3. Spot on, mate. I said I'm going up to Mount Isa Rodeo. And Mum,
as you do,
Mum and Dad, oh yeah, no worries, young kid, yeah, he won't go, and had the date set, and I packed my ute, set my ute up. I think Mum and Dad were in a bit of disbelief that I was actually going to do it, so I headed up through for the first time across to Adelaide, up the middle of Australia, mate. Went up to Uluru and I stayed at Wilcannia at the bottom of sort of the top of South Australia there, and then come right up through South Australia all the way up to Uluru. Went and did Uluru. Never walked on it. And then we come back around. We went all the way up to Tea Tree, I think it's called, and then we cut across to Mount Isa Rodeo. And I had a couple of mates that I knew from Ballarat that had moved to Darwin, and they it was just all a coincidence that they met us, and we were like, oh, we'll go to Mount Isa Rodeo, and sort of camped where they were, and I knew a couple of the girls from Ballarat, Tess White and that were sort of coming along, and we sort of all met at, 18, 19 years old. You're on the piss. I wasn't with Charles at the time. It must have been just before we met her. And, mate, just one hell of an experience traveling Australia. I say to people, I used to sleep beside my ute in a swag traveling Australia. I said, I actually don't think I'd sleep beside my ute in a swag traveling Australia anymore, the way that things are. So, sort of young, just having fun, had a barbecue, had an esky, and had a swag.
That's all you needed.
My ute. That's all I needed, mate. Travelled up, just seeing the lifestyle of how big Australia was and fell in love with it, and spent some time in Mount Isa Rodeo. I remember meeting Mitch and Trent, a couple of blokes, and we camped with them, and they just coincidentally were behind us, and they're still my mates these days. They live up in top end of Queensland, in Arnhem Land, top end of Queensland, around shit, I'm gonna lose my mind here of where it is.
Top of the territory or top of Queensland?
Top of Queensland, green area.
What do you mean green?
It's really
like
just
green on the map or
nah,
green
it's green
trees?
on the map. It's green.
Like Weeper?
If you close your eyes and think of it.
As in the name of it's green? Like Cooktown, Cape Trip?
No, we're down from there.
Cairns,
Jeez, I'm gonna have
Mackay,
to look this up.
Rockhampton.
I'm going to have to look this
Townsville.
up, BT. Atherton. Thank you, my man.
The Tablelands.
The Tablelands. That's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Atherton and Tablelands up around there. So, become great mates with them. They come down and helped us run the rodeo one year just by meeting them there. Then I met a lot of people that I'm great mates with now that are from Darwin that were sort of come to Mount Isa. I reckon there would have been a crew of shit, maybe 20 or 30 of us in the end. And I just remember being there thinking, how good's life? This is unreal. I'm camping here on the piss, having fun. And Jimmy Barnes played that year as well. Shepherd. I can't remember who else, but I just remember Jimmy Barnes being on stage and he stepped off a tray deck and hit his leg against the side of the tray deck and actually broke his leg on stage and never did anything about it. Stood in the one spot and sung the rest of the night away while we all danced on the arena.
Just gritted the teeth.
And the next day I read the article that Jimmy Barnes has broke his leg because he fell off a stage at Mount Isa, and I was there to watch it, mate. It was a pretty wild thing to be a part of.
I think there's plenty of other people that would have done that and hobbled off and gone, sorry guys, I'm out.
100%, mate.
Got a broken leg, but show must go on.
Yeah, so I fell in love with sort of travelling Australia after that, mate. I sort of spent Bo Burke and a few other boys from Ballarat. We sort of travelled back down through Queensland, New South Wales with him and got a real bug for it of how good Australia is and how big it is. And I say to anyone, mate, if you are from a hometown and you've never left it, get in your car and fucking go and enjoy Australia because
100%.
there is a lot of stuff to see out there. Your little suburb is nothing compared to Australia. You go drive 12, 14 hours one day in the middle of the outback and you'll be very well surprised. So sort of lived a bit of that lifestyle in between. I was lucky enough to have a good boss, Scotty, that let me, go have time off and enjoy traveling Australia. And that one time when I was traveling Australia, I sort of was driving down an avenue. A lot of places have the Avenue of Honour. Ballarat's got one. I'm sure there's plenty around. And I just mind ticking along, spending a lot of time in the car. It might be a 10-hour drive one day and you're listening to music and you're thinking about life. And I think the whole rodeo thing sort of, what businesses, and started to get into a business mind. And like my old man and mum never had businesses. They've just worked for people for a long time. And I don't really know where the business sense come from in my brain, mate. I just sort of become a passion. Like I left school. I never studied it or anything like that. Never studied business management or anything in my life. And it just naturally happened. As I said, I'm not the smartest bloke and, my maths wasn't good. My speech wasn't good. But like I just fell in love with the business side of things. And I just remember driving down this Avenue of Honour one day and I must have been on my mind about starting a clothing brand. I don't know why. And Avenue of Country. I'm traveling the country and I'm driving down an avenue. Avenue of Honour, Avenue of Country. I said, that's a good name for a clothing brand.
That'll do, mate.
That'll do. So one thing led to another. As always, I did have a business partner at the time and I pushed forward with it as the main front man as I do. And sort of created a clothing brand for the country people, which sort of had, it wasn't moose, but it was meant to be a deer, and I copped it a few times. People saying you got a deer that looks like a moose. Are you from Australia or America? I'm like, well, it is an Australian clothing brand, but so I moved into that, mate, and I never knew anyone in the clothing brands. I never knew anyone around that. I just built it up from myself, from what I thought I had to do, and just learn along the way, and did that for about 5 years, and I learned so much from it. I went to so many events over the years to sell clothes. I started, I was using a bloke in Melbourne who no longer does merch anymore, but was using him, and then I started to dabble in the Alibaba online. So I started moving overseas and bringing stuff in with fishing jerseys and beanies and hats and all that sort of stuff, and sort of moved through that. And you learn along the way what's shit and what's good and where to buy it from, China or Pakistan, or where to go. And I was bringing beanies over, and I started doing all that sort of stuff and continued to grow and grow, and then hit a stage in my life where I had kids. Me and Charles had kids off sort of the back of the COVID area. Had Oscar first, and then Oscar's 4 now, and we moved on with Sadie, our second one, which was nearly 2. And I don't know if I could say I lost a passion for it. I still loved selling the clothes. I probably become a bit time poor when you have kids, I guess, mate.
You do, mate. You do indeed. We're both ours, and this was just sheer fluke, wasn't it? That the first night we met was at Brad Cox, and we're talking about kids and whatnot. And I've got back then it was probably a 2-year-old and a brand new, or a 3 and a 1 or whatever it was. And we're going, when was your 3-year-old born? October. When was your 1 year? March. Like, our 2 kids are literally within weeks of one another.
It was a god sense of meeting you, mate. So
yeah.
I guess I've become a bit time poor around that.
You do indeed.
I was playing footy still at the time, and I was trying to do Avenue of Country, and I was trying to be a chippy and trying to work hard for everything I wanted. Had kids, and
becomes a fucking juggle.
It become a juggle. And look, mate, the COVID period as a clothing brand was, I remember some weeks, mate, I was bringing 3-4 grand home a week with Avenue of Country in COVID, like, because people were just, that online shopping was booming, and it was a great thing. But I was trying to navigate learning how to be a dad. I guess it's a wild handbook to try and learn.
You don't get a handbook, unfortunately.
No, you don't, mate. It's you figure it out yourself and write your own handbook for your own personal gain. And sort of moving through that, and I sort of just started to fall away with it, and I felt like I started to let people down a little bit, mate. Orders weren't getting sent out every night. I started, I was spending time with the family and making that a priority, I guess. And then, you miss one order, and 2 weeks later, hey, is this order coming? Yeah, it's coming. I'm sort of, I looked at it and thought, I'm letting people down here, and I don't like to do that myself. So I sort of decided to wrap it up after Sadie towards Sadie coming along, and I sort of sold out everything. I was going to sell the company, and someone come and met me, mate, to buy the company, and they were as a handshake, which these days a handshake means fuck all, because it's not like the old days, and they disappeared out the back door and never brought it, never heard from them, which was disappointing.
So did it just...
I just ended up making the decision, mate,
Shut
that
it down.
I actually probably felt a bit uneasy about selling it too, because I'd worked so hard for it that I would rather close it down than someone take all my hard work, sort of thing. I don't know why that was, but... so what I did was I just sold everything I had, mate, closed it down, closed that chapter of my life, and, I was still playing footy, I was still working hard as a chippy, working on weekends, and, kids become the priority. But in the midst of that, mate, I don't know, there was heaps of little business things that were sort of still popping up in my head, like what sort of business? So I actually remember me and Nath Ross, a great family friend we grew up with, I remember one night being on the piss, and we were just sitting there, geez, how good would it be to buy an arcade game? I said, we grew up in a little pub at Wearmouth called the Stag Hotel. I said, playing Buck Hunter our whole life, me and Nath, as kids. Used to go to the pub, and Dad would sit at the pub there, and, we'd be out there with the Buck Hunter, gun in hand, feeding coins in. Yeah. Anyway, there used to be one out there we played as kids for years, and one night I said, I reckon if we got on eBay, someone would be selling one. We'll just buy a brand new one. We went on there, and this night on eBay, there's one on there. And it's the original one we played our whole life out at the Stag. I'm thinking, this is heaven.
This is
how much is it? Let's just buy this thing. How much is it going to cost us? So we look at it, and it's a bidding. And, you can bid on it. When's it end? It ends in 46 minutes or whatever it was, 36 minutes.
What was it at?
Fucking hell. What are we going to do? Should we start bidding on this? And at the time, it was at about $800. Geez, no one's bidded the last year. We'll put a $5 bid in. So we put a $5 bid in, and we sat there for 15 minutes. No one else put a bid in. Shit. Hang on. We might get this. So the business decision was that we were that pissed we just kept bidding until we got it. I think it got to about 1,100. I remember the last 10 minutes the most stressful bidding of my life, and I'm on there bidding on eBay, and I put in next one's in. I said to Nath, all right, we're either getting it or not. I said, we'll wait till this thing says 1 second left on the bidding, and whatever the price is, we'll put it $5 above it. So hit enter within the 1 second to go. Did you get it? I don't know, mate. Did we get it? Don't know. Bang, congratulations, you've just, we've brought this thing, how good's this? We're blind as it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I get a phone call straight away. who's this ringing me? Answer, how you going? You g'day, mate. You've just bought the Buck Hunter. You have to pick it up at 8 o'clock in the morning in the middle of Melbourne. 9 o'clock, whatever. Do I? Yeah. You've got to come and get it.
That was part of the description.
Didn't read that part, did I?
Yeah.
So I went and brought this Buck Hunter, and I went down the next day. I remember I was seedy as fuck, and Nath had to work in the morning, and we were playing footy that day out at Liamov. He played for Liamov as well, and remember coming down and getting it. And what are we going to do with this? Like, is this like a business decision? We're going to buy arcade games and have them in pubs, or what are we going to do? So
Yeah, we haven't thought that far ahead. All we thought was we used to play Buck Hunter and we want Buck Hunter, so let's buy Buck Hunter and we'll fucking work the rest out later.
We brought it back to Ballarat, mate, and I rang the publican at Liamov. I said, I've got a Buck Hunter. Oh, yeah, it's great. Can't put it in your pub. Oh, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, if you want it, you can just plug it in the wall in the corner. I said, there used to be one in there. Oh, I remember when there used to be one in there as a kid. Yeah, no worries. So on the way to footy that day, I rushed back from Melbourne, plugged her in, went and played twos footy. That night, the footy club went back to the pub, and it was the end of the night. You know, it might have been bloody 11 o'clock or something. And I said to Nath, a few people have been playing that night. I wonder how many coins are in there. So we're laughing. He goes, you got the keys? I got the keys. I opened up the front of it, pulled the coin slot out, and the coin slot thing would have been 3 inches deep of coins. It was about $300 of coins in there, $400 of coins in there. Holy fuck, we've just paid this thing nearly off already.
Yeah, one night.
First night. So it's spent a lot of time in there, and that was just a little business decision that just come on the piss, mate, as you do. And I don't know, that little business wire in my brain was ticked again, and we spent some time there, and then the pub was closing down, so it moved over to Miners Rest Pub and spent some time over there. We made some coin over there, and then went back to Nave's house, which was sort of the party central house as we grew up, 44 Double D as we knew it, and spent a lot of time there on free mode, and I'll let it go there. And years went by, and got to a point where Nath was sort of settling down, and he was moving out, and we said, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with this Buck Hunter? Like, we'll just get rid of it, won't we? We'll just sell it. We don't need it.
Yeah.
Worst thing I ever did, mate. I think about it every day. I should have never, ever sold it, ever.
That was going to be my question. Where is the Buck Hunter now? Where can I go play this thing? Where do I have to feed coins into it? And you're telling me you don't have it.
We made our money back for sure. Like, we were investing money in each other, and we were thinking, geez, we could actually, I reckon we could do this and make money off it. Like, get another one. Let's start getting another one. And we never did. I sort of wish we did. Or probably something business decision I never pursued, I guess. And from there, mate, we sold it. We paid $1,200 for it. We paid it off, and we sold it for about $2,500 or $2,600.
Oh, perfect.
It was after that COVID era, I guess, where people were in their sheds and wanted to, do their own thing of having a beer in the shed and play arcade games. So doubled our money and made money as well. So that was sort of a business-wide decision growing up, mate. It was a bit of a funny one. So, but yeah, from there, mate, it was just sort of the business thing of Avenue of Country shut down, and I sort of said to Charles, I won't do anything. I'll just do things on the side, and sort of from there, I'll get on eBay and have a look around. There's a few podcasts popping up. The Alpha Boys sort of popped up, I think, sort of the first one, and might have been a couple other ones I sort of started listening to, and there's just this Roadcaster on there. Roadcaster, and this is what they must use, and there was nothing with it. No mics, no headphones.
No, nothing.
No, nothing. And, I was looking at it and I'm thinking, I could buy that. And it's a bid war again. Here we go. I can bid on this.
I'm fucking good at this.
I went and looked
I've done this before. Not as fun as Buck Hunter, but we'll have a crack.
They're about $1,000 or whatever they were. And this thing was at about $200. Shit, I might buy this. I don't know if I'll ever use it, but I'll buy it. I'm trying to bid more. So the bid more started, and I think I paid about $300 for it, mate. I think it was delivered for $330, and come in a box. I looked at it. Geez, this thing's cool. Plugged it in. All the lights light up, all different colours. Oh,
it looks like
cool.
a rocket ship.
Cool as.
Yeah.
I'll put that in the shed. So it sat in the shed for a long time, mate, while I was pursuing other things, Chelsea's got the farm down at Halls Gap, so spent a lot of time down there, we're doing stuff down there.
And you're dadding and you're building. And
I'm building, I'm doing everything, mate. I'm a busy lifestyle. People always joke about me having ADHD, and I say I don't, but I probably do, mate. I just don't want to.
I was going to say, they're probably not joking.
So I've always been a busy man, and, I was spending a lot of time down the farm, and that, like, growing up, like, I spent a lot of time out at my auntie and uncle's farm, carting in hay bales, learning how to drive tractors, cutting wood, all that sort of stuff, and then sort of met Chelsea, the country girl of the dream sort of thing, and, I was tending B&S's and all that sort of thing, and it sort of just moved into this area of my life where I was busy with kids, I was busy farming, I was busy chipping and all that sort of stuff, and the Roadcaster sat in the shed, I guess, on the shelf gathering dust, and the box started getting a bit more crumpled as I threw more stuff on top of it, and just one night I pulled it out and plugged it in, and I thought, I might order a couple of headphones of this or mic or something, see what I can do with it. So
It's pretty useless by itself.
we ordered a couple of mics and a couple of headphones, and I didn't even have stands or anything at the time, mate. And sort of from that, we sort of, I was like, oh, this is cool, and I'm playing around with it, and
Listening to yourself going, oh, I sound all right.
Yeah. I actually remember having Oscar in there, him talking to himself, saying, "Hi, my name's Oscar," and I reckon I've got a recording somewhere still, and it's the most beautiful thing. We're just having a yarn and that. I thought, geez, I might have a podcast with me young fella here. This would be cool, just for the family or something. And then in the meantime, the Alpha Boys had the first podcast Royale, and sort of watched along and become, I was listening to Two Flogs at the same time, and when they very first started, and when Alphas had sort of very first started, and Bill sort of jumped on there, mate, and sung the national anthem, and I thought, fuck, this bloke's been on Australian Idol. He sung the national anthem, Bill, and he played for Warburg and Learmonth, and we were only they're 10 minutes apart, completely different ages, but sort of knew who Bill was, but never mates with him, I guess, and I just do what I do best, mate, and I always reach out to people. If you don't reach out to people in life, I always say, like, you're never going to know the answer yes or no. So,
100%.
I've met people in my life that I've just messaged and they've messaged back, and, I'm so grateful that I've met them. And, so sort of Bill, I sent a message, I said, hey, mate, I've got this roadcaster thing, have no fucking idea how to use it. I said, you just sung at that podcast Royale thing, you're from Ballarat. In the meantime, I'm thinking what I'm going to do a podcast about. In the meantime, I went and jumped on a construction podcast. They got in contact with me and said, we want to talk about your life, where you went to school, and it was only probably a 20-minute podcast, I think, why you become a builder and if you ever want to work for yourself and all this sort of stuff. So I jumped on there and told a little bit of a story, and I'm watching this bloke. I probably couldn't give a shit about his podcast whatsoever. I was just watching this bloke use this roadcaster and the mics and how it all worked. Told me a little story.
Taking it all in.
Told me a little story, got home, and Bill had done the national anthem, and I'd sent the text message through, mate, and said, hey, mate, seen you do the national anthem, congratulations. From Ballarat, I'm from Ballarat. I was thinking, I'll do a chippy podcast. I thought, geez, I've attended a lot of country music in my life. I was, at a young age, I was down in Melbourne, partying.
Mate, we would have been at that many of the same concerts.
That many of them. I remember Luke Combs coming to Australia for the first time, mate. I was on shoulders and looked like a little baby. There's still a video goes around now.
That would have been at the Palais, I reckon.
That was the Forum. That was him and Darius Rucker at the Forum.
Yep.
And then, mate, I watched so much country music.
Palais was the second time he came.
So much country music live. I remember we went up to CMC, me and Charles, spent a lot of time up there. I remember the year we went to CMC, far out, mate. We had like 300 mil of rain in the weekend, and we actually camped with the original
Shout
people.
out to Queensland.
Original people I met at Mount Isa Rodeo, become great mates with over the years. Like, I spent a lot of time up in Darwin. I went up and did fishing trips up in Darwin where, God, we went out on boats and that, mate, where we wouldn't sleep the night before. I remember flying in up there, and we flew in and we were going on a fishing trip, and the first night we didn't sleep. It was 3:30 in the morning, and got back to a mate's house to sleep in his bus outside, and laid down. And as I laid down, knock on the door, and Scotty on it, my mate said, you ready to go fishing? Fuck, I haven't slept. So,
but you just go, yep, let's go.
Spent a lot of time up there, fishing, living that country lifestyle, attending country music, attending country events, Mount Isa Rodeo, CMC, everything in between, Denny Ute Muster. I fell in love with the country music scene, and when you think about what you want to talk about on a podcast, well, far out, I've been to every country music artist I can think of. I've attended all these big things.
Let's just fucking mash that all
together. Maybe
together.
I'll do that. So I sent Bill a text message, mate, back to that, and just said, look, you were on Australian Idol and you made the top 30. You can sing. I'm from Ballarat. You're from Ballarat.
I can't
country
sing.
Lads. I can't sing for shit. I could sing Lainey Wilson last night. I tell you that
Oh
much.
yeah.
4x4 for you.
Yeah. We won't continue with that.
We won't deafen the.
We won't damage your ears.
But yeah, so from there, mate, it sort of just come together, and Bill come around. He met the family, and we sat in a little office that was 2 meters by 2 meters, and I messaged the lovely man BT behind the scenes, and a lot of people said, did you just find him from the Potty Royale? And I said, actually, funny enough, I didn't find BT from the Potty Royale. I'm a man of research, and I was actually doing some research and found this bloke that used to do radio and producing, and I actually found a LinkedIn number and sort of sent him a message and added him on Facebook. I actually think I sent him the message and added him on Facebook, and BT come back to me and said, hey, mate, I'll call you the next day when I go into town. And he called me and he asked me why I wanted to do it and what the reasons I wanted to do it. Was I in it to make money? I said, I don't know. I just want to talk about country music, mate. So I was in it for the right reason from the start. It was such a passion. I wasn't there to make money. It was just something I wanted to relay my life experiences like we're doing now on a podcast, mate, for other people to enjoy and talk to them about country music and fall in love with country music, how I fell in love with country music. So BT got on board. I remember BT coming down to Ballarat to meet him for the very first time, and we sat in our lounge room and recorded an intro where Bill and Bill's brother just played a random guitar sort of rhythm, and Bill sung some words over the top of it, and we mixed together playing twos, drinking booze, and farm to the pub and all that sort of stuff, and mixed it all in and made an intro. And we had the intro.
What do we do? What do we like?
Yeah, what do we have?
And
we BT told us just to sit down and before we do anything and just record an intro about what we want to do, and it's still there to this day, mate. I haven't changed it. Probably should change it. And I remember sitting down there.
It's
and
so fucking catchy.
I remember, the very intro of like the what the podcast was going to be. Sorry. And, yeah. So we it's still there. The very first episode goes for like 10 minutes, and I remember saying it. We want to talk about country footy. We want to go to pubs and interview publicans, which I don't think I've ever done. And we want to talk about country music. We want to have an Artist of the Week segment, and young people like Bill that were on Australian Idol, we want to champion in country music, because without
you're doing that bit.
Without young people in the country music scene, mate, it'll die off. And I'm a big support for that. Like, I try not to be a selfish person. I'll try and promote other people and do everything I do in life like mum and dad do, mate, and help other people out.
Yeah, lift everyone up around them. 100%.
And that's a big thing I've grown up on in that lifestyle too, mate. That, house could be burning down and I could be in there. I'll be trying to get someone else out before I got myself out. You know what I mean, mate?
Yeah.
It's just the life I've been brought up with and been brought up the right way. I can't remember what I was saying then.
Talking about how the podcast came about.
So we did the intro, we did the what we were going to do, and we went from there, mate, and continued on to sort of creating what we thought was what we wanted to do, and we did one episode a week, and one episode a week started to become 2 hours an episode, which was huge, and sort of went to BT.
Yeah, because you're trying to put all of the catch-up of life, the fucking what do we do on the weekend,
and mate, we're
the
doing,
different segments.
We're doing this in a 2-hour period on a Tuesday night, so me and Bill didn't have to go to footy training on a Tuesday night, because fuck that.
Yeah.
We were just training on a Thursday night.
Only playing twos.
Two blokes playing twos, drinking booze, and we'll do it on Tuesday night. We don't have to train on a Tuesday. How good's this?
Yeah.
So we got into it, mate, and continued to grow into something that I never could wildly ever imagine. And me, BT, and Bill worked hard on creating something that was just so unique in the scene and never been seen before. The traditional media outlets ask a lot of their base questions around the music and around the artist and what they're producing and what they're going to release. And we decided we wanted to pick the brains like no one else had before and do the research of what people were behind the scene and what their life was. So we got the lucky enough opportunity after splitting 2 shows. We did a country music show on a Friday and a Wednesday show that was just a general shit talking show. And Nezza I work with every day now at GJ Gardner in Ballarat. He's a footy fanatic. He's lived and breathed it his whole life, and he loves taking his girls out to footy. He loves playing senior footy. He's been playing senior footy for 20, 25 years since he was a young fella. And I originally said to him, do you want to do a podcast with me? He said, no. I said, well, do you want to do a footy segment? He goes, well, how's country music and footy go together? I said, well, it's not a country music podcast. I said, we're doing a general show that is about country lifestyle, and then on a Friday we'll do the country music, and you don't have to be involved in country music because you don't know that much about it.
Yeah.
I said, so let's do a footy segment. So that come to light, mate, of him doing a footy segment of, talking about twos and drinking booze and always funny things.
All the yarns that happen down at local clubs.
Yeah, and he talked about all the stories of him growing up, and, he'd do the research of, so-and-so cancelled a game because this person died, the president, and this is what happened, and we'd tell the stories of the local footy, and, this team's been beaten by 200 points 5 times in a row, and now they've just been beaten by 300. And
all those random stats.
So that sort of all come apart, mate, and then got given the opportunity by Frontier Touring. I actually don't really know how it come apart. I think, once again, I did the old reach out, as I do, mate, not to be scared to reach out. And I reached out to Riding Hearts Festival and said, hey, can we come along? And I said, yeah, no worries, you can come along. And they said, can you interview artists? I said, oh, yeah. Well, guess I can. We'll give it a go.
There's only one way to learn, and that's jump off the deep end.
Lucky enough, BT
start winging it.
Being around the scene his sort of whole life and sort of knew what was going on. It wasn't something he'd done Riding Hearts sort of as before, but he'd done stuff in that. So he sort of guided us along the way, mate. And we went there and we sat down with some of the biggest country superstars in the world, and we sat down.
That would have been intimidating as fuck.
Yeah, there's probably like a part of my life, mate, where I actually was nervous, which I'm sure we'll get into later, and probably my social anxiety sort of kicked in a little bit when I went to places like that, and I sort of would try to hide that I was so nervous, but inside I was probably fucking shitting myself so much. Like, it wasn't funny. I didn't want to be there. I was so scared that, I was going to be a failure and I was going to walk away, and, it was all going to go downhill. But I walked in there, mate, and as I always do, grab every situation by the balls, and me and Bill sat down and interviewed all these artists and created this unique brand of, laughing about, Riley Green, how he got the biggest muscles in the world. And, he told us a story about being in a wheelchair, and he drives his little wheelchair around the backstage area, and that's how his muscles always get big. And he told us all them stories which no one had ever seen before, and we created something that was so unique behind the scenes that no one had ever seen before. So Frontier gave us that opportunity, mate, and then we moved forward from that into more opportunities of interviewing artists, continuing our country music journey, and got up to CMC, and me, BT and Bill drove up there. We drove right through the night, straight through. I drove the first bit, BT drove for a bit while we recorded a live podcast, Bill drove through the night, and I think I finished off the next day. Or BT might have finished off the next day, and we went up to CMC. I'd been up before. Bill and BT had never been there, and we spent 4 or 5 days up there or whatever it was, and we interviewed most of the artists there. We had so much fun and continued the growth, and I look back on that now, the opportunities we got given there, mate. We grabbed them by the balls and fucking took them, and I pinched myself so much. I always talk about pinch yourself moments of, sitting down. Like last night, I got the opportunity to go meet Lainey Wilson. 10 years ago when I'm watching Lainey Wilson or Luke Combs on stage, I would have never thought in my wildest dreams I'd be on the other side of the screen knowing what's going on behind the scene. And, to be in a room with someone like Lainey Wilson with so much power last night, I'll think about that for the next couple of weeks of how special that moment was. And, I suppose maybe in my life, maybe that was a goal, and this is where I'm meant to be, in a room with people like that. So
yeah. And I think that's the great thing about the whole podcast world and podcast game, is because it is that longer form, very authentic content and conversations.
Yeah.
You have that opportunity to, like you say, produce content and give people a look into these artists' lives that they'd never really seen before, which I think is really cool. And that's what obviously this is all about as well, from a story point of view, obviously getting to know your story, and you've touched on it a couple of times. You're like, we'll get into that a bit later and we'll touch on that a bit later. But I reckon, from a Dusty Boots podcast point of view, you're fucking killing it now. You're coming up towards 200 episodes. Like you say, you're doing artist interviews. You've got your Wednesday show, your Friday show. You're here, there, and everywhere. You're MCing events. And
the MCing thing probably just sort of, I don't really know where that come from. I guess I grew up in a life, mate, where I'd probably try to fit in with the wrong people growing up, I guess. I tried to fit in with people that I thought were cool and thought were my mates, which probably never were my mates. I spent time around a footy club with one bloke I can bring to my mind, and he never gave me nothing but shit. He used to tell me to shut the fuck up every time I'd talk and say, stop talking, you're always talking, and just hang so much shit on me as a kid. And, that sort of trauma dumped me for so long. So, for me to go stand on a stage, I'm like, well, fucking hell, I need to shut up. Like, I shouldn't be on stage. I shouldn't be talking. And I learnt from that young age and so many experiences with just this one person that I thought, you know what, fuck you. Like, I'm going to prove who I am, and I'm going to be who I am, and you don't need to be my mate. Like, it doesn't matter. And I remember having a falling out in a pub with him one night, and I just lost my shit. I just said, don't you ever talk to me like that. Like, I should have stood up for myself when I was younger. And I just said, mate, don't you ever talk to me like that. If I want to talk and talk, and if I can talk and talk and you can't, you don't handle it, you leave the room, not me. If I want to talk to whoever I want to talk to, and I want to talk for 3 hours, I'll do it. Like, just fuck off.
If the other person's happy to talk to me and listen, then who are you to tell me not to?
You don't need to tune in this conversation. And I took a lot away from that bloke, and, I still talk to him now and that on and off, but it shaped me as a human, I guess, of just not be shy. I am who I am in life, and if people don't like it, they can fuck right off, really.
Oh, mate, be unashamedly you, and I reckon that needs to be a goal for everyone out there, and to work out fucking what do you need to do differently, or when are the moments, or who are the people that you're around that you're second guessing yourself, or you're like, fuck, I better not say that, even though you feel like that's what you'd normally say naturally, and you hold back.
I spent so much of my life growing up trying to fit in with the wrong people, where I was trying to be like them, and I weren't from a young age that you shouldn't have to try and fit in with people. I've never tried to fit in with you and Amy, mate. We've naturally become the course of if you want to ring me, you'll ring me, and if I want to ring you, I'll ring you. It's not, Ben never calls me. I always have to call him, you know. It
mate,
just goes both ways.
Nothing worse than that bloke who, as you know, like you and I, we're both fucking flat out, and those mates that when you ring them, they're like, "Oh, hello, stranger."
Yeah, I hate it, mate. I grew up.
And you go, don't guilt trip me into fucking not. You know that I've got a bit on. You know that I'm flat out. You
Why
know that
haven't you called me to say, how you going, mate? Are you all right? And, you know, I grew up with blokes where I did so much for them, so much for so many different people, and I've never had anything in return. You know, I've been on excavators helping mates for days on end while, you know, I've worked all day and I'm out there, you know, doing site cuts or digging their drains or building their front fence, and they never paid me a cent for it. I just did it because they were my mates. And, you know, I look back now and I'm like, well, what did they ever do for me? They never did anything for me. You know, I rebuilt bloke sheds. I spent hours in bloke sheds doing stuff, and, you know, they never repaid me. And, you know, now they don't talk to me. Like, you know, that sort of creates the human you are. You're not probably my mate. I try to fit in with the wrong people there. So, moving on with the cause of that.
But you ask yourself so many questions in those moments of, is it me? Is it them? Have I done something? And you end up just getting in your head.
I think I got in my head so much from this one person that I grew up with that was pretty much a schoolyard bully, mate, growing up through the footy club and that just sort of picked on me a lot. I probably got in my head so much about that with every other situation and going, oh, well, he told me to shut up. Maybe I should just fucking shut up and not talk and not express or not do anything. And, you know, I grew up in a tough lifestyle of being a tradie and, you know, around the farming scene and that, and nothing against mum and dad, but we were just brought up tough. You just didn't grow up and you didn't talk, I guess. I suppose you just got on with life when shit happened. You just continued on with whatever goes.
Toughen up, shut up, move on.
I sort of grew up in a life, mate, where, you know, mum and dad went through a shit ton when we were younger. You know, I've never grown up with grandparents. I remember Pop a little bit and I remember Nana Willie a little bit, but like I never remember mum's parents ever, and I just never had grandparents, and like I'm so appreciative now of a young age with my kids, mate, that they get to grow up with my mum and dad, and I guess Chelsea's parents as well, because I never got to experience having grandparents. So mum and dad went through so much with so many different people, I guess. You know, people dying of cancer around them, and, you know, mum's best friend dying of cancer, and then, you know, mum's other friend beat cancer and then ended up dying from cancer. And, you know, we went through so much death as kids, I guess, and, you know, mum and dad probably spoke to us about it. I can't remember talking about it, but I just learned so much from that of life so short. So short.
Can't take it for granted.
Yeah, so short, mate. And then I guess probably the toughest thing I ever talk about is I lost a mate when I was 18 years old, and I went through so much with that shit. Like, you know, I was probably close with a man that I never thought I was close with. So close to him, and
with the mate that you lost.
Mate that I lost, and, you know, I learned from that experience of him dying in a car accident, and fucking hell, life so short. So short. So
run us through that, because I can hear that it's fucking it's still raw to the day.
It's one that I probably never touch on and never talk about, and, you know.
We don't, because it's fucking hard.
You know, Dad calls me when it's Jakey's memorial every year, and he's always like, oh, it's Jakey's memorial this year. And I think, yeah, it is. Another year by. And this year will be 10 years. And it's something I never really talk about. And I guess it's one of them things, mate, that I looked at. The way I got judged about it, I guess, was I don't think everyone realised how close me and Jake were. I went through school where we were both dumb as fuck, me and Jake. And it was one of them things where we literally we went through school and we joked around, and we were in building classes together, and we didn't want to be at school. We wanted to muck around and have fun, and I was so close with him, but when he died, I felt like I was so far away from him because I felt like his real close mates were judging me for not being close with him. They didn't see how close we were. And I battled so much with, you know, people didn't think we were mates, and, you know, I was so affected by it. I'm like, oh, people were just thinking this bloke's a fuckwit. He was never mates with him. Like, he never.
Why is he cut up?
Why is he so cut up? He never knew him. Like, he never come and hung out with us. But, you know, like, I used to talk to Jakey on the phone all the time. We used to text all the time. I spent so much time at school with him. He was a big, gentle giant. Like, and I was so cut up by probably what other people thought of me, which you never, you know, looking back on life now, you should never worry about what people think of you. And
it's easier said than done, though.
It is, mate.
Especially at fucking that age.
At that age, so young, I can tell you to every detail, mate, of that day that it happened. He got bogged out at Mount Cole, and they were trying to get the ute out, and they couldn't get the ute out, and they were going to get an excavator to pull it out. And I remember him messaging me saying, hey, mate, can you come and pull us out? And I said, mate, I've got my whole back seat out, and I'm putting an air compressor behind my seat. I can't come out. I've got shit everywhere. So they ended up finding someone else to go out. And I just remember there's times in life, mate, when something happens and you know who it's going to be. You just get that feeling,
that's
there's a
sinking
car
feeling.
crash out the road here, and you go, fuck, I just feel like I'm going to know this person. I just feel like I'm going to. And there was just sirens and sirens going out past mum and dad's. And I don't know why his resting place was a kilometre from mum and dad's house, but it's sort of a God sense to me, I guess, that it shows how close we were. And I just remember the fire trucks and that. And I just remember saying to Dad, like when I was putting the compressor in, I just remember saying, I just feel like I know who this is. And Dad goes, nah, mate, like you won't know who it is. Like it's only a young kid. Like you won't know. Like it'll be all good. We'll get through it. And they are.
And did he know at the time when he's telling you that?
Nah, mate. And the way I found out was probably the worst way possible. I was standing in the garage with my old man, and a tow truck went past with a ute that was absolutely mangled, and we knew someone had died. And it was a Jakey's ute. And, I found out probably the worst way possible that way because it was so raw in front of me, mate.
There's no protecting you from that. There's no
phone call to say, hey, mate.
sit down, we've got some bad news or fucking anything like that.
And yeah, it was the worst way possible because I pretty much was one of the first ones to find out. And one of our mates, Kyle, which I don't talk to Kyle much anymore, but he was there when it happened, and he tried to save Jakey and that. And, I find out straight away because I see it on the truck, and I called Dan Wrigley, one of my best mates, and I'm like, hey, mate, I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't, I can't confirm it, I don't know, but someone's died in a car accident, and I've just seen Jakey's ute come past, and, mate, this thing's fucked, like it's done. And I remember Dan come straight around, and I rang a few other boys come straight around, and then the day went on. It was probably one of the worst days of my life, mate. And then we went out, we all caught up and had a beer together and that.
Was it was the crash early in the morning, late at night?
It was probably around lunchtime, I reckon, mate.
Yeah,
I reckon
okay.
it was in the Arvo, so we sort of got together that night, and I remember sitting in a shed with all the boys from school and just like, wow, like, holy shit, like it was just silence and just sharing stories about him and all that sort of stuff. And mate, from that experience, it probably shaped me to the human I am today. And I always say it will, because I weren't in that sense before I went and did all this traveling and all this going to events and that life is so short. It can be gone in an instant, whether it's mum and dad's friends dying of cancer, or is it Jakey dying. It all things happen, and we're all going to get to the end of life, and we're all going to die one day, mate.
Yeah,
unless AI or something makes us not die. I'm not sure what'll happen. Who knows? But yeah, it sort of shaped me as a human to realise that life is so short. To go and enjoy it. Take every opportunity you get. Go have kids. Like I don't think mum and dad ever thought I'd ever have kids. And at 21, 22 years of age, I had my first kid, and I remember telling mum and dad and that, and they're going, oh yeah, no worries, like we're so supportive of you and all that sort of stuff. And I don't think mum and dad would have ever thought, oh, Liam's going to have kids soon.
And or especially at that young age.
Nah.
But do you reckon you reckon Jake passing away was just that moment that went, fuck, I can't leave anything until tomorrow?
Pretty much, mate, and I never do.
Yeah.
Every opportunity I get now, I take it, and you're like me, mate. We spend a lot of time away from our young kids, and we try not to. But if there's an opportunity there to take it and put myself in a room with the biggest people in the world and make something happen, I'll go do it.
Yeah.
I'll go back to Lainey Wilson because it's the most recent thing. I go stand in a room with Lainey Wilson last night, mate, and I meet Nick Rewalt, who's an iconic person that plays for St Kilda, and I spend some time and have some great conversations with Nick Rewalt last night, and talk to him, and it's someone I've watched on the screen for so long, but if I didn't put myself in that room to meet Lainey Wilson, I never would have met Nick Rewalt. So you put yourself in the position where if you put yourself in a room with the good people, get yourself around the right people, you'll meet more people which will grow you and make you a better person, but it'll also continue your life experiences of, hey, this opportunity comes, let's take the next opportunity. What's going to come with it, I might go meet Luke Combs, I'm going to meet Paddy Dangerfield next, or, I'm going to meet Robert Irwin, or, you just take them opportunities as they come. So I've always sort of done.
And it doesn't matter who you're meeting, as long as it's you've got that, you're weighing it up, you're obviously balancing it with family, priorities, but if that opportunity goes, this could be beneficial, then what's saying no going to achieve compared to saying, let's have a crack, or let's go and do it, or let's work late, let's put myself out, let's go and make that opportunity happen. And I think, like you say, you've just got to continue to do it. And I think there's this great sort of, it's not really a saying, but it's the concept of surrounding yourself and spending time with people that you're looking up to in areas that you want to get better at, rather than if you're at the top of your friend circle or relationship circle, sort of that can start dragging you down because
Yep.
you become the average of the people you spend the most time with. But if you're surrounding yourself with people that are inspiring you, are motivating you, are working harder than you, then you end up wanting to and naturally falling into that as well.
Yeah. And I feel like, as I said, mate, I spend the time around blokes I'm still mates with now that from the country scene and that, but growing up, I probably just try to put myself with blokes that just weren't my mates. They were just there to either use me to work for them or do something for them, and they never did anything in return, which isn't your mate. And, losing Jakey, I always feel like I've never found that person, that just understood me. And Dan Wrigley, one of my great mates, like he's still my best mate to this day, he's just someone that he was with Jakey as well. Like we were all good mates. He's the other one that understands me. But, I've probably never had the conversation with how much Jake affected me, and it probably affected him because I just grew up in a lifestyle. I was like, oh, toughen up, you'll be right. Continue on. Put
on a brave face,
put on a brave face. And I've always put on a brave face, mate, There's not too often people see tears come from your eyes. It's just, you got to just show up and, life, next day, get up and go again. And, I learnt so much from that experience of being with Jakey happening that, surround yourself with the right people, the right things will happen. So from there, off the back of till probably before the podcast, I was hanging around with people that weren't really my people. When the podcast started, I probably have more people I would call my best mates and surrounded myself with more good people since the podcast ever started than I have in my whole entire life. People like you, mate, people like BT, people like Bill, Knuckles from CTC isn't just Knuckles from CTC you see behind the camera. He's a mate, behind the phone when you call him, He's just as busy as we are, but he'll have the conversations with you and check in on you and all that sort of stuff. And,
100%.
You just, all these people, Danny Grant, he's become such a motivation for me. Danny, he's taught me so much in life about festivals and events and stuff. I ran an event off the back of not knowing what to do with Kingston and that. And now I've now met Danny that actually knows how to run events properly. And he said, don't do it this way, don't do it that way, don't do it this way. And, we had a successful live show that Danny gave me so many different ideas to do. And I would have never had them opportunities if I surrounded myself with shit people. You surround yourself with good people, good things will happen. So it's one of them things, mate. I've learned so much from probably I've bottled a lot up over the years with the whole Jakey thing. And even, mate, I had a car accident when I was probably, I would have been 18 or 19.
Before or after
19.
Jake?
After Jake, mate. And I remember I rolled a ute, a few times, probably 5 times. I was probably lucky to be sitting here, to be honest, mate. I crawled out a window with not a scratch on me. If it was off a main road, it wasn't on a main road, it was on a gravel road and out the back, and I was so lucky to be alive. And I remember my old man, the lifestyle I grew up in. I remember I rang a mate and I said I've rolled my ute, and I remember he sat on 160 to get there to see what was going on. The ute was upside down, and we flipped it back over, and the boys we got to get this up out of the way. And I was lucky enough that it was near my uncle's sort of farm. We said we'll just drag up there because if the media come, if the police come, what are we gonna do? We'll be in the shit here.
Yeah.
So we dragged it up, and I remember I couldn't ring my old man to face the facts, and I remember my mate rang my old man, and my old man flipped his shit, and my old man come down.
Were you going too quick or?
Yeah, just a driver error, mate, of being young and having fun.
Oh, yeah,
I was,
100%.
Seatbelt on, not on my phone, not over the limit, nothing like that, nothing against. It was just too quick, too new to driving, I guess, and just a fuck up in all spaces. And I remember my old man was fuming, and he come out and met us out there where the ute was, and he actually got out and he was fuming, and he yelled at me and then he hugged me. He's like, "You're all right. You're okay. You're fine." He was angry because he's scared. He was scared as much as I was, and after that, I had a footy match the next day. Once again, I don't know why these things happen in life, but footy match was out at Rokewood, and that's where Jakey was from. So I drove past his cemetery that day, and I said to Mum and Dad, "I'm not playing footy today." And they said, "You're playing?" I said, "I'll play footy if you take me to the cemetery first," because I said I got to go apologise to Jakey. I said, because he died in a car accident. I could have just died in a car accident last night too. So we went straight out there, and I remember Mum and Dad sat in the car, and I got out and just sort of sat there, had a yarn to the grave there, mate, and then went and played footy and that. And look back on all them experiences around Jakey and that. It's probably one part of my life that I've learnt so much from.
100%.
In so many different aspects, and I've probably learned all them myself. I've never reached out and spoke to anyone about the whole Jakey thing, and this is probably the first time I've ever really spoke about it. mum and dad might sit down and look at this and probably hate themselves for not talking to me about it, but it's not against them. It's just me.
Yeah, but it's always a two-way street.
It's me being me, I guess.
You put a brave face on for long enough and people fucking believe it and believe that everything's all good, and so many of us are so good at pushing everything down. And I think off the back of some of the things that you're sharing now, which I'm so grateful that you do feel comfortable to open up, mate, I reckon we'll ask a couple more questions and then we'll wrap up with a couple of activities. And as I've sort of said to you, one of the things that Flying Blind is going to become is I've got a heap of great mates. We're great mates. There's a number of other people that are going to become a regular part of this podcast, and we'll continue to catch up. And you and I, we could fucking yarn all day.
I don't know why, mate, but I'll blame you for this, Mum, if she ever listened to this. That fuck, I could talk with a mouthful of marbles underwater, mate. I got Mum to thank for that.
Yeah, that's it. And we don't need to be pumping out 12-hour podcast episodes. I'd rather that be 10-hour-and-a-half podcast episodes. So I want to ask you a couple of questions. We'll get to know you a little bit deeper.
Yep.
And then, like I said, we'll wrap it up for today. And then there's so many other yarns, and I think it'll be great to be able to then go back through, go away, sit there and go, fuck, I want to know more about that and want to know more about that and rah. So you've talked about what I can only imagine would have been one of the toughest moments for you.
Yep.
Would that be fair to say with
Mate,
Jake passing away? Would that be the toughest
probably
moment
would
for
be
you?
one of the toughest moments of my life, I'd say, was battling that and probably secluding myself and battling on my own. And, I'm a happy-go-lucky bloke. You look at me, I'm probably, from the external, I'm the happiest, smiliest, nice sort of bloke. I hope people look at me like that. And, I sort of battled that on my own.
And when you are that extrovert, that happy-go-lucky bloke, I think sometimes it hits you even harder because it takes more energy to keep that front up.
Yeah.
When, like you say, behind closed doors, you're battling that probably even harder than people are seeing.
I guess I learned, and it's not in a harsh sense, that like we're all going to die one day. And now when people die, I attend the funeral and I celebrate their life. But you got to move on. You got to, a couple of days later, you got to continue on with life. You can't take a week off work because someone's died. Like, you got to get back on the saddle and go again because you're still here. So you're still alive. So you got to continue on with life. Like that, their life chapter book's closed now, and it's not in a harsh sense of I don't care. It's just that, I'm still here. I can have a crack at life still. That their opportunity's ended, but I'm still here. So let's have a go.
It's the catch-22, the bittersweet part of reality, really, that, like you say, people that you lose, whether they've like Amy's nan passed away end of last year and she was 98, and a lot of people said to us, oh, at least she had a great innings. And yes, she did, but the longer she lived, the bigger part of everyone's life she was.
Yeah.
So she was such a huge, they still leave such a huge hole.
They do.
But life does move on.
Life goes on, mate.
And you still got to remember, you celebrate, like you say, you honour them, whether it's dropping into Jake's grave, whether it's the nod every time you drive past that spot, or
and like,
for me,
mate,
with Camo wearing his footy shorts, things like that. Like,
yeah, it's one of them things, mate. Like, shit, if people knew how many times I've called out to Jakey's grave, far out. I used to tell Mum and Dad I was going down to the pub or going out for dinner or something. I'd probably drive out there and sit out at the grave for an hour as a young fella, just taking it in and that. And like,
what did that do for you?
I don't know, mate. It just made me, I suppose it just made me realise get up and keep going again. Like, I don't know how you'd explain it. I guess going out there was something to kick me in the ass to say, far out, I don't know why you're stewing on shit like this so much, get up, he's in kind terms 6 foot under and I'm still 6 foot above. So, it's just, go out there, get it off your chest of seeing him and, well, his opportunities ended, and if he was here, what would Jakey be doing? What would he want to do? He wouldn't be, he'd yell at me for driving out there. Why the fuck are you driving out to see me in an hour? Why are you driving out now? Here, go do something. Go to the pub. Go enjoy yourself. Go travel Australia.
But that hour drive out there might be so worth it for what you get out of it,
mate.
too.
So much. And like, I haven't been out past Jakey's in a couple of years now, out to the actual cemetery. But shit, I drive past where he died and hit the tree. Probably sometimes twice a week I'll drive past it. It's only a K out from home, and sometimes I'll just pull up there for no reason, and it might be just to send an email, but I'll just pull up there and send an email just because it's just in that location. I feel right. I'll just pull up here where Jakey's tree is.
A bit closer.
On the phone to Dad. Oh, you're on the way back to the farm? Yeah, no worries. Yeah, just going past Jakey's tree. It's become an iconic part of my life of oh, hey Chelsea, you're on the way home with the kids. Yep, on the way home with the kids now. Oh yeah, I'm just going past Jakey's tree. I'm nearly at Jakey's tree now, or I've just gone past Jakey's tree. It becomes a part of your life and something you sort of always reflect on, I guess.
Yeah, and the more you keep that memory alive,
yeah,
I think the more, like you say, the realization that life is so precious and can be gone in a fucking instant,
yeah,
is just gonna stay with you.
I guess
every
too,
single day.
Talking about why I become in business, I guess probably now looking back at it, as I said sort of before, that I don't know why I become business. If I look back on it, I suppose in a sense, Jakey gave me a kick right up the fucking ass and said, go do it, I guess. You know what I mean? Go create businesses, go and buy a buck hunter, go and create a podcast, go and do what you do. It's sort of a love tap on the shoulder from him that I guess.
Why not?
Why
not have a crack?
Go have a crack, because I never got an opportunity to have a crack. He never got an opportunity to do it, so why don't I have a crack?
Do it in his honour.
That's probably the toughest thing I've battled, mate, and probably second to that, the other thing that's probably been the toughest is probably I went through a period there that no one would have ever seen, probably apart from Chelsea, of just battling social anxiety as such and try to build over a bridge over it. And it was a period of my life, I suppose. It was probably off the back of COVID. A lot of people, you spent a lot of time at home and you never went anywhere. And I just got so stuck up in my head of, I wouldn't want to go anywhere. I wouldn't want to go to events. I wouldn't, if you rang me and said you were coming out for dinner with Amy, I wouldn't even tell Chelsea you rang me for dinner. I'd say, oh, we can't come, mate. I've got something on.
Yeah, Chelsea doesn't. She's none the wiser that we've even been invited.
Mate, I just didn't want to go places, and I'd go out, mate, and I would.
Where do you reckon that started from?
Just the back of COVID, mate.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm the most happy, excitable, talkable, fun human, and I spent so many nights on the piss and so many nights growing up going out for dinner and that, and it just sort of it come out of nowhere, and I don't know where I honestly think the COVID thing, just no footy and no going out, it just sort of created off the back of that. And mate, it got to a real bad stage where I'd go out for dinner and I'd have a beer and I'd be at a table with mum and dad and all my family, say for a birthday, and I'd order a Palmer and I couldn't eat it. I'd look at it on there
and just feel. I
would feel so crook, mate. This.
And when people are asking you, why aren't you eating? What are you saying?
I had lunch at 4:00, or I feel crook as. I'll just have this beer, I think. I don't feel like eating, I'd have a mouthful, mate, and I'd go to the toilet and spew my guts up while I'm out for dinner. I was just like, this sucks. This is shit. Yeah, and I just went through this, and mate, my parents don't even know about this. Chelsea's the only person in my life that knows about this, and there's so many things I look back on now. I remember going to a school reunion, and I was so nervous about going. I didn't want to go. And Chelsea, we just had Oscar, and Chelsea's mum had come down, and Chelsea, yeah, you going to go? Yeah, I'm going to go. And we had something for lunch, and I was that nervous. I got in a car with Dan and his sister, and I spewed all through the car. I was that nervous. I just spewed my guts up, and I said to Dan, oh, sorry, mate, I fucking had fish and chips for lunch.
Yeah,
no good
food poisoning or something.
Because I was so nervous. I just didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go out in public. I didn't want to do anything. I remember so many times I went out for dinner with mum and dad, and I'm not hungry. I'll feed the kids. You have dinner, I'll feed the kids. Yeah. I'll feed the kids, and then I've fed the kids. I don't have time to eat mine. Does anyone want mine? Just went through a period of I was so ashamed of eating in front of people would just become this phobia. I didn't want to go out places, and Chelsea tried to push me out, and she tried to support me as best she can, and she pretty much said to me, you've never been to the doctors with the whole Jakey thing in your whole entire life, but if you don't do this thing is gonna eat you alive. It is gonna kill you. It is gonna kill you from inside to out. And mate, I got to a stage where I was going to have smoko at work, and I didn't even want to eat smoko in front of my boss that I've known for 10 years, and it's only me and him on the site.
So the social anxiety then turned into not eating.
Yeah.
Because then eating would make you feel crook,
yep.
make you feel more anxious.
Yeah. And mate, I couldn't even go out for dinner with Chelsea in public. Sit at a 2-person table in an empty pub and eat my meal because I was so self-conscious and eaten up by it. I wasn't myself at all. And, I went to a stage where, all right, I'm going to put my big boy shoes on and go to the doctor, and went to the doctor and tried to explain it to him, and trying to explain to a bloke that I can't sit down at a dinner table and eat dinner. I can take one bite and I go spew my guts up, what it is. And he was trying to diagnose it as social anxiety and what it was. And we did the mental health plan from that. And he was sort of, I don't know what direction you sort of send someone in that's got that sort of, is it anxiety? Is it not anxiety? What is it? So I, put my big boy boots on and went to the doctor and did that. And I said to him, just give me something. And I remember he gave me them Sertaline tablets and I had them for, mate, probably a month. And apparently you meant to wean off them. I just stopped taking them. I felt like the worst person in the world. Every time someone would say something, I was that just depressed and sad. Part of my life of just like, I don't need these tablets. I'm the happiest person in the world. Like, why am I taking these tablets?
So were they an antidepressant?
They were. And it was just like, why am I taking these tablets? Because I just can't eat in public. Like, I'm fucking not taking these tablets. I'm tougher than taking these tablets. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of them things. Like, I was just like, I'm an Aussie bloke. Why am I taking tablets because I can't eat and I don't want to go out in public? I don't need them. Grow up, be tougher. Go out in public and stuff.
Because that's what you've grown up being told.
Yeah.
Fucking toughen up.
I don't need these. And, Mum and Dad never knew I was taking them. And Chelsea knew that they were there and she was trying to make sure I was taking them and that. And they just made me feel like a piece of shit. And I was like, I don't need these. These are shit. These are the people who are in real dark places that need these. Not me that can't sit at a table and eat. I'll just keep going out for dinner and keep not eating. Like, it doesn't matter. I'll be fine. So I went through a period of my life, mate. It was really dark there over the years of Oscar being born. And, people probably listen to this now and will look back and go, fuck, I remember that time we went out for dinner with him, he didn't eat. That 10 times we've been out with him. Or, Dan will probably look back if he ever listened to this and go, I remember that time he spewed in the car.
Yeah.
He was nervous. He was scared. I didn't want to go places. It wasn't because he was sick.
He was physically anxious to the point of fucking spewing.
I don't like to be a bloke where I lie, mate. And I probably lied through my teeth so many times about it. And Mum and Dad probably asked, "Oh, you all good?" Yeah, no, all good.
But you think it's best for you, best for everybody else, and it's the easiest way out to just put on the brave face and act tough and go, no, just play it off.
That was probably another toughest thing that I went through, mate. I went and I got the tablets and then I did them and pretty much was like, fuck that, I'm not going on these. And then I went and seen a mental mind clinic and I went and sat down with him and, for 45 minutes I did one session and I come out and I just kept thinking, why am I doing this when all my problem is I can't go out and eat dinner? Like, I don't need to sit down with someone. Like, there's people in darker places than me that need to sit down with him. Like,
that's all coming from the stigma though too, going, and I shouldn't be here and I shouldn't be on tablets and feeling like there's something wrong with you if you are.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I solved all my problems and go find a doctor if you're, speak up and all that sort of stuff because, fuck, I didn't.
Yeah.
I did the complete opposite. I'm not going to say that I've done something that's made me a better person by doing that. I didn't. I did the complete opposite of what people should do. I didn't believe the tablets are helping me. I pissed them straight off out into the bin, and I just stopped taking them. I'm like, they're making me sad. Don't need them. I'll just not eat out. Like, that's an easier... If all my problem is I can't eat out in public in front of my family, fuck, my life's pretty good. It's just that I just can't eat out in public. So I sort of battled through that a lot, mate, for over probably 3 years, I reckon. And I don't know how I come out the back of it.
I was going to say, what do you reckon was the turning point?
Don't know, mate. I honestly don't know what the turning point was. Like, I remember even early days of the podcast with Bill and BT, we'd go out and, everyone would eat dinner. There'd be 6 of us eating dinner at a pub before riding hard or something. Oh, I'm not hungry, boys. I'll just get a garlic bread.
Yeah.
I'm all good. I'm all good. Don't worry about me, boys. I had Maccas on the way, boys. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's all good. And, I probably lied through my teeth a lot of saying that just to try and avoid the tough conversation of like, hey guys, I don't eat out. Like, I just can't because just social anxiety kills me. I'll have a beer with you, but it's all good. But I just avoided that tough conversation, I guess. And, from there, mate, I don't know how I grew out of it. I don't know if the kids helped me grow out of it by going out with the kids with Chelsea and that and Mum and Dad and that. But, mate, I'm fully back to myself now where I can, we went and sat in a very nice restaurant in Crown yesterday morning, me and Chelsea, and I nailed a 300-gram medium rare steak in public and didn't think once about eating in public. And I'm a fine human. We sat at a bar last night and me and Chelsea had something to eat and it's just life's back to normal again. And how that happened, I honestly can't say that I went and got the help and they helped me through it. It naturally did its course, and I try to be a tough person and just move through it and move on with life because, as I've said, like, there's better things in life than chewing yourself up about little things like that. And I just try and be tough and you'd be right, move on. That's how I grew up.
And it's probably the whole Jake situation that
Mate,
would have been part of you you pushing through that slowly, listen. And I think me listening to you telling that now, I think it's probably important to say the best thing for me listening to it is you were at least open to going to the doctor.
Yeah.
And the
It took- I
the
can tell
doctor,
you
the
right now.
medication, the 45-minute session, that will work for some people and it may not work for others.
Mate.
Everything in life, it's not a fucking one-size-fits-all
It
approach.
took me months to go to the doctor. Months. I would work. I reckon at one stage I rang up and cancelled.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to go to the doctor. I'm fine. I'm all good. I'm a nice bloke. I'm a happy bloke. Why do I need to go? If I don't have to eat out dinner, it'll be fine. It doesn't matter. So when I finally did go there, mate, I remember, I think I told Chus, I'm just going to get a general checkup. Go, I'm a tradie and work with asbestos. I'm just going to get a general checkup. I'm going to go get a general
Yeah,
checkup.
get my
and-
skin checked, do the sunspots.
Yeah, all that
work
sort of
out in the
stuff.
sun.
What you all should do.
Yeah,
Definitely
100%.
get checked. And and then I went and got it and then come back with a mental health plan and I explained to her the tablets and that. And she said, this is really good and that. And she supported me through it and that. But it was just, that's probably, mate, they're probably the two toughest things I've ever been through in my whole entire life. There's been so many things. If I talked about death in our family and, uncles and aunties and, family friends and that, I'd be a perforated sheet if I took all them up. And I'm a full solid sheet of metal, mate, because, they've happened and I've moved on from them. And it's not to say I don't think about them and celebrate their life when the time comes around of an anniversary or a birthday or something, but it's made me a better person, I guess.
Yeah, nice, mate. And what do you reckon the greatest lesson you've learned through it all is?
Oh, look, mate, and as I said, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit to you. I think the greatest lesson is talking up, but I don't do it. I don't ever talk up. This is the first time I've ever spoke about this shit in my life. Like, I said to you, and we said at the start, it's been a long time coming. The thing was, it's a long time coming because I was avoiding sitting down with you because I knew we were going to have to talk about this.
Yeah, 100%. You were like, you're not going to know what half the things that
I
I'm going
kept
to
saying
fucking come out with.
the half the things are going to come out with you, and I just kept probably thinking, Ben will forget about it. He won't get me on. He'll forget about it. I don't want to get on there and talk about it. And that comes down to it, mate. Like the lesson is that maybe I do need to talk up more. Maybe I need to, maybe I need to say to mum and dad or, my brother or Chelsea or you or Dan Wrigley, my mates that are actually
Doesn't matter who it
mates.
is.
Doesn't matter who it is. Maybe I just need to ring them and say, fuck, mate, I'm struggling at the moment. I'm stressed about this, and this. And, I actually will say that one person that probably I've learned a lot off in the last probably 6 to 8 months is Luke Geiger. He's someone I jump on the phone with and be myself. I was on the phone with him for an hour the other day and just spoke about myself and how I am and what's going on. And, he's so supportive. Like,
Yeah, he's great like that.
just so random that it's a bloke like that I've only known for probably 12 months, but the last 6 to 8 we've become great mates. So the lesson is, mate, that, not for me personally, but probably for everyone that, we're all going through shit like this, but maybe just talk up about it. It's all not going to be that bad. So that's probably the lesson I've learnt, mate, through it all is just talk up and sort of speak about it. And, maybe if I spoke about half these things, I would have moved on even quicker than I have. Like, I wouldn't have spent 2 or 3 years not eating out in public. Like, it would have been just a conversation where, hey, I'm struggling a bit here. Like, I can't really eat out and that. Like, I might not eat out this week, but can we go next week and try again?
Yeah,
Like,
rather than just avoid it at all costs. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm shocking for that, mate. Avoiding, when the tough gets going, like, just avoid the tough conversation. Don't worry about it. It'll be right. It'll be right. I'll just think about it on me 2-hour drive to work. It'll be fine. So, it's definitely something I've learned from it, mate.
And I think it's easy to satisfy people when they ask and how you are with, oh, you're fucking stressed or busy, or you talk business and you talk work and you talk life, but not necessarily you.
Yeah.
And I think we're all so good at that, but it's a fucking good pickup and a great lesson, mate. And a couple of quick fires before we move towards wrapping up. All right. I'll see if I can remember off the top of my head. One thing you do to reduce the head noise.
Yeah, well, as I said, mate, probably not too much, I guess. I'd probably definitely say family time. Spending time with my kids is the most. It's a privilege to be able to have kids in your life, and a bit of down family time, whether it's down at the beach house at Portland. Go down there on the beach and just the kids play in the backyard or down on the beach and that. And it's probably my wind down time for 5 minutes. I might be still on my phone doing emails and that, but just trying to be present. I struggle with probably being present a lot of the times because I'm just trying to create a future of, that maybe I will be retired early and the kids will be living the dream. So like everyone does. So, definitely that, mate. And then country music is just my, me down to my soul. I just, on the way here, we'll listen to Lainey again. Or,
Yeah, we were.
White Flores, like anyone, just any country music artist. Luke Combs played a big part of my life. Kit Moore's played a big part of my life. Like, I just put music on. Like, music in my ears is just like I'm not thinking.
Yeah.
Like, if I got music, country music's in my ears, my
Happy
day
place.
just got good. Yeah.
No, I'm the exact same, and you know that, and we've connected over that. So, 100%. One person who sees the real you.
Definitely Chelsea, mate. Yeah, she, as I said, mate, half this stuff I've spoken about that I've battled through in life that no one in my whole entire life would know about, even my own parents, my brother, nothing. Chelsea's seen all that behind the scenes, mate, and tried to help me through it. So she's definitely seen the real me, and definitely mum and dad have seen the real me as well. But Chelsea has seen and battled all these things with me.
Yep. Yeah, love that. One thing you're proud of?
Probably me family, mate. The way that I was brought up by my mum and dad and my brother, and what I've created with my family now with my 2 kids, I'm so proud of both my little kids and my family. I'm not a big family man. I'm not out for dinner twice a week and family and on a holiday every weekend with my family. But the time I get to spend with my family, I'm so appreciative for my mum and dad, especially dad, and that just they jump to help me with everything I do, and they might not appreciate. They might not look at it as I appreciate it as much, but I appreciate it so much. Everything they do for me. So
yeah. No, that's fucking cool. And family, like you say, you can't, you can't sort of compare or that what that does for you and the role that plays. And for some people that might be your best mate. For some people, it might be your uncle. For some people, it might be your family, your kids, your wife.
Yeah. And I guess
might be a relationship with your mum or whoever it is. But yeah, it's just that special person, whoever that is.
Yeah, and I guess like being proud of my kids, mate. Like I don't even know what I used to be proud of before I had kids. Well, what did I used to be proud of? I'm not one that reflects on accolades and talk about what I've won and what I've done, and so I'm just so proud of the kids.
Yeah.
Sadie might put her clothes on for the first time. Geez, I'm proud of that. Good on you, Sadie. You've done well. Or, Oscar goes to kinder and he comes home, I made a new friend. Good on you, mate. I'm proud of you for doing that,
100%.
Or you're a builder, Dad. How do you know that? I'm proud of you for knowing that I'm a builder, mate. It's just, your kids become such a identity, I guess, of you as a person. And that, life changes when you have kids. Like my wife's been so up and down, I guess, and I've tried to keep it above the line as long as I can. But when you have kids, God, life changes.
Oh, mate, it just turns into an absolute shit show, but in the best way possible.
Best way possible. Best shit show you can be a part of having kids.
Yeah, love that. And last one thing you're pumped for?
Mate, probably again, kids, watching the kids grow up, watch them become their own people and do their own life, Oscar's like, I'm going to be a farmer and a builder when I grow older. And, I always said I was going to be a builder. I never said I was going to start a fucking clothing brand and be a podcaster.
No.
It just happened. So I'm so excited to watch my kids grow up and be a part of their life. A lot of the stuff we do, we talk about. And, I was talking with the bloke that does PR last night and talking about his life when he was younger, how he wasn't at home and he was trying to create something. And he has a great PR company now, but just being present with the kids and that, just trying.
At what cost?
At what cost? Like, it's so hard. And I'll probably battle that sometimes. Should I be here or should I be there? And should I be with the kids and all that sort of thing? Like, you battle through it, but I never talk to anyone about that. Once again, I just keep showing up, try and be there with the family when I can be.
Maybe we should talk about it more, mate.
yeah.
Maybe we fucking should.
If you answered your phone, it'd be good.
Oh, well, fuck, if I could find my phone.
No, you do always answer the phone or ring back, mate.
I'll try to be honest.
Busy life, but I'm so excited to watch my kids grow up, and in the same sense, mate, like Dusty Boots and all that sort of stuff. I'm really excited for that. But if there's just one thing, it's just the kids and that. Like Dusty Boots has grown to something I would never imagine in my wildest dreams. It's the most unique creativity from us boys that we find out about stuff that spend 2-3 hours doing research on stuff, and you interview an artist and something comes of it, and then the next opportunity follows on from that, and then the next opportunity follows on from that. Like, people ask me all the time, like, oh, are you going to do podcasting full time? And I'm like, I love being a chippy. I still rock up.
And enjoy what you do.
I still rock up every day. I love being a chippy. I love building.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this because I want to be a podcaster.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I want people to see the experiences I learned as being a builder and, on the Wednesday show. But then on the Friday, I want to, I want people to go to CMC. I want people to enjoy country music and grow up the way I grew up on country music and learn everything. And, if you're not talking about it, it dies off. Like, I talk about an interview yesterday with Caitlin Butts about singing Willie Nelson songs, because if people don't sing them, they're in 10 years, 20 years time,
They're disappearing.
they're gone.
Yeah.
They're not going to be there. So if I can share my life experiences and make someone's life better, mate, I'll do it. Like, that's the whole point of a podcast. Like, this is the first time I've ever sat on someone else's podcast and told my story. Like, I've never ever told anyone my story ever, and everything I've been through. Like, so it's just one of them things, mate. Like, where Dusty Boots is going to go, I know it's going to go places. I'll keep working hard for it. You know, I'll always work hard my whole life for something I want. You know, I'll never want to be gifted something. I'll work for it, and hopefully, where Dusty Boots heads is maybe one day that, you know, I will wind things back with Beanie Chippy, because the podcast life's so busy and I'm on the road with that. So we'll wait and see where that goes. But definitely my kids, mate. I can't wait to watch them grow up.
Yeah, mate, 100%. And just keep winging it until then. And to finish off, mate, couple little things we're going to do. Just a little bit of fun. First one is pick that sound, and do it with most of the guest episodes when we can, where we can, unless we're on the road and aren't able to put the headphones on. But there's 3 everyday sounds that you're going to hear that obviously you're not going to be able to see. And I want you to have a guess with what they are. So we're going to play the first sound now. Sound number 1, have a listen. We'll play it again.
Shit. Fly-by door? Closing?
No, not a fly-by. Well, you're close. You're close. You're warm. Go one more time.
Oh, I reckon it's your stick going into a fly-by door.
Not quite. Not quite. It was the door part was very good. What's something that you put in a door?
Well, hopefully not that, but maybe your keys.
Yeah, have a listen again. Listen again. That's the key going into the door. Key going into the lock.
Which you don't know how to do that in Brisbane, I don't think.
Yeah, fucking rub it in, mate. Rub it in. Yeah. I got a little bit lost in a Brisbane hotel that we.
Mate, I'm so proud of you for just showing your life out there, and you're so motivating to so many other people, mate. And you've lived a life that yourself that's been so harsh, and you've battled so much. And I seen that video go up, and I laughed at you. I thought, you fuck
you.
You fuckwit. I thought.
I had all my great mates message, like so many people in the comments say, I was so shattered when the keys dropped, and then I've got all me close mates going, I just pissed myself laughing when you dropped the keys.
I think I commented on it. If you just laughed at Ben dropping his keys, you cruel motherfucker. Or something like that. So,
yeah.
But mate, that's that was one of the things I was so proud to watch that, mate, go up above millions of views, because you just showcased your life and what you go through every day. Like a sound like that, you know, I thought you're walking into a fly-wide door with your stick again. But
yeah, mate, we'll just have a little bit more faith. They're everyday sounds. All right, sound number 2. Do you want it again?
Yeah. Fridge door closing or something? No.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Is it?
That's a fridge door closing.
I've done that a few times, getting the bottles out for Sadie in the dark. That's probably the closest I could get to getting bored.
Very well done. That's bang on. All right, number 3.
I reckon I heard that a few times last night. Is that your stick going over the braille at the top of the stairs or something?
Negative.
Do you cut your hair every morning?
No. Don't think of it's something that I hear every day. It's an everyday sound that probably you would hear every day more than me.
Nah, that stumped me.
Think about going to and from the job site, maybe. Coming home from cutting wood, maybe. Coming home from Bunnings.
Blinker? Nah.
Nah. If I had the sound effect to say incorrect, time's out, time's done, ratchet strap. Ratchet on a ratchet strap.
Know that. Nah, see, these days I just use quick ties. I don't listen to that anymore.
Oh, come on, mate.
Nah, it is. It is a rack. I should have got that as a
That's
builder.
what I thought. I thought
God.
I'm going to put one in there for you being the big old builder you are. And
That's, yeah, what a dumb motherfucker I am.
nah, you're all right. You're all good.
I love it.
Yeah, how good. And mate, we got one more, and we're gonna get sorted for this one,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna come back and finish off. All right,
I've got a blindfold on.
yeah, good. So I've got 3 things. I'm gonna give them to you, and you've got to tell me what they are.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Hands out.
Both hands?
Yeah. First one. Where are you? Here, come towards me. Perfect. What's that, and what's that for?
It's like a roll or something. A bandage?
Not quite. Talk to me. Talk me through it.
no,
This is a fucking podcast, mate.
I'm in
I know
silence.
people will be watching you do this.
It's rolled up. It's a bit of cloth rolled up. Is it just a rag out of the shed?
No.
It's got a little knot in the end. Jeez.
So a little knot in the
Oh,
end.
no,
Is
hang
it
on.
soft? Is it?
It's soft. It's a roll. It's got a little. Does that fit through there? No. Nah, that's got me. It's cloth.
You may have opted for them before I broke your ribs in the 7-man blindfold fight.
I may have opted for them.
Before you put your gloves on.
Hand wraps for boxing.
Hand wraps for boxing.
Jeez, I'm not that professional.
No, either am I.
I went in there and swung like a motherfucker.
Yeah, and I managed to clip you in the ribs and break them, but that's a yarn for another time. All right,
yeah.
That's the first one. Chuck that down to the side. All right, hand out. Number 2. Where are you? Put your hands out, you goose. There you go. Jesus, there we go.
Oh, that's like a doorknob or something, isn't it?
A doorknob.
It's timber, and it's got a hole in the end. What the hell would you use that for? Is it the end off your walking stick?
It is, mate. Well done. Fuck, you're 1 from 2 again. So this is either going to be a pass or a fail. We've got one more thing. Hang on, let me find it.
I'll put my hands out in front of me this time, not to the right.
Yeah. Straight towards me. What's that for? What can you feel? Talk us through it. Again, audio platform, mate. You need to talk to us.
Is this like a nunchuck? Like, it's got a handle that you hold onto that's steel. Some sort of a rake.
It's not a very long rake if it's a rake.
It's a short hand. Is that like a back scratcher?
But it'd probably work for a back scratcher.
I'll go with back scratcher.
Back scratcher? Incorrect. That is a meat puller for pulling meat.
Oh, yeah. It
Your
is
briskets,
too.
your pulled porks.
There
You get
go.
2 of those and you pull it apart.
I actually reckon it's a back scratcher.
Oh, mate. There's probably plenty of people out there that have used things in life not for their intended purpose, and they work. So,
I love it.
mate, well done. You can take that blindfold off as we finish up. But to wrap up, I want to say, mate, thank you so much for coming on. But most of all, not so much thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing growing up and your story and what you've done, some of the laughs, some of the stories, some of the yarns, but more importantly, just opening up about some of that
I appreciate
stuff
it,
that
mate.
you haven't spoken about before.
Yeah, and mate, opening up about it, I stewed on it. As I said, we try to make this happen. I probably avoided it, but I thought if I spoke up and, if one person takes away from what I've said in this podcast today and they go find help and become a better person, and I always say it, and I always say it on Dusty Boots, if someone listens to this and they're in a place like, I've told my story and you're so scared to talk, send me a message.
Yeah.
Simply send me a message, because I'm happy to talk about it with someone that's battling what I battled by myself behind closed doors. So, yeah, always reach out if someone's been through something similar to that. And, if one person takes away from, hey, I'm not the only one going through this, then I'd be a pretty happy man.
Yeah, bloody oath, mate.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to call you a great mate. I will always be there to answer the phone or ring you back. So I am one of those people that you can ring if you do want to tip a bit more of that bottle out on a bit more of a regular basis. And if there's ever anything I can do for you to support what you're doing, Dusty Boots, reach out. And as always, for everyone listening, like I said, we're going to continue this moving forward. Shooter's going to jump back on every now and then, and we'll continue the yarns. We'll go deeper, we'll go wider, we'll go here, there, and everywhere, and just talk about some of the shit we get up to.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there does have questions for the next time you jump on, you can shoot us an email at contact@flyingblindpodcast.com.au. And mate, from me to you, until the next time, keep winging it, brother.
Thanks, brother. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.